Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Hearth. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Ethan. Thanks so much for joining us today.
We're so happy you're here. You know, Ethan, I was thinking about what makes a good conversation in English, and I realized something interesting.
What's that?
Well, when you meet someone new, or even when you're chatting with a colleague at work, one of the most common questions is, "How was your day?" or "What did you do today?"
Oh, absolutely. It's like the bread and butter of small talk, isn't it?
Exactly. But here's the thing. For English learners, this simple question can actually be quite challenging. You might freeze up or struggle to find the right words.
I remember when I was learning Spanish, someone asked me about my day and my mind just went blank. I could only say good and then nothing. So embarrassing.
Right? And that's exactly why today's episode is so important. We're going to talk about our daily routines from morning to night. By listening to how we describe our everyday activities, you'll build a toolbox of simple, natural sentences that you can use in real conversations.
Think of it as practicing before the big game. When you've talked about your routine a few times, it becomes easier and easier. You'll sound more confident and natural.
Exactly. And the best part is that daily routines are universal. Whether you're in Tokyo, Paris, New York, or anywhere else, everyone has a morning routine, everyone goes to work or school, and everyone winds down at night.
So, grab your coffee or tea, get comfortable, and let's chat about a day in our lives. Sound good, Lauren?
Sounds perfect. Let's start with the hardest part of the day for me, waking up.
Oh no, are you not a morning person?
Not at all. I set my alarm for 6:30 a.m., but honestly, I usually hit the snooze button at least twice.
Only twice? I'm impressed. I'm terrible with the snooze button. Sometimes I hit it 5 or 6 times.
Really? So when do you actually get out of bed?
Well, my alarm goes off at 7:45, but I don't usually roll out of bed until about 7 or 7:15. My partner always jokes that I have a complicated relationship with my alarm clock.
I love that. A complicated relationship with the alarm clock. That's so relatable. But seriously, why is getting up so hard?
I think it's because the bed is just so comfortable, especially on cold mornings. The warmth of the blankets versus the cold room, it's not even a fair fight.
The bed always wins. But eventually we do have to get up. So what's the first thing you do when you finally drag yourself out of bed?
First thing, I stumble to the bathroom and brush my teeth. I always brush my teeth before breakfast. I know some people do it after, but for me, it's part of waking up my brain.
Interesting. I'm the opposite. I splash cold water on my face first. That cold water really shocks me awake.
Oh, I can't do cold water in the morning. I need warm water. Actually, I take a warm shower every morning. It's non-negotiable for me. I feel like the warm water helps me feel fresh and ready for the day.
I get that. For me, the shower is more of an evening thing. In the morning, I just wash my face, brush my teeth, and then I'm ready to think about breakfast.
Ah, breakfast, the most important meal of the day, as they say. What do you usually eat?
I'm pretty simple with breakfast. Usually just toast with butter and jam and a big cup of coffee. Sometimes I'll add some fruit if I have time. What about you?
I'm more of a cereal person. I love a bowl of cereal with cold milk. It's quick, easy, and I don't really have to think too much about it. My brain doesn't really work properly until I've had my coffee anyway.
Same. Coffee is essential. I can't even imagine starting my day without it. Do you make it at home or grab it on the way?
I make it at home. I have this little coffee maker, nothing fancy, but it does the job. Plus, it's much cheaper than buying coffee every day.
That's smart. I'm terrible at making coffee though, so I actually have a small espresso machine. I just press a button and boom, coffee appears. It's like magic.
Technology is wonderful. So after breakfast, what's next?
Getting dressed, and then the final check before leaving the house. You know that moment where you're standing by the door mentally going through everything?
Oh, absolutely. Phone, wallet, keys. The holy trinity of don't leave without these.
Exactly. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten halfway down the street and had to run back because I forgot my keys.
Keys are the worst because if you forget them, you can't get back in. I've learned to do a little pat down before I close the door. Left pocket, phone, right pocket, wallet, hand, keys.
That's a good system. I should start doing that. I also always check that I have my work badge because without it, I'm just standing outside my office building like a lost puppy.
Hi, I work here, I promise. I just forgot my badge. Again.
Exactly. Okay, so we've made it out the door. Now comes another adventure, the commute.
Ah, yes, the commute. How do you get to work, Lauren?
I drive. I have a car and my office is about 25 minutes away if the traffic is good.
And how often is the traffic good?
Almost never, honestly. During rush hour, it can take 45 minutes or even an hour. It's a bit of a nightmare sometimes.
I can imagine. Is the driving itself stressful or is it more the traffic that bothers you?
Definitely the traffic. I actually enjoy driving when the roads are clear. I listen to music or podcasts and it's kind of peaceful. But when I'm stuck in traffic, barely moving, watching the minutes tick by, that's when it becomes exhausting.
Do you ever think about taking public transportation instead?
I've thought about it, but there isn't a convenient bus or train route for my neighborhood. I'd have to walk 20 minutes just to get to the nearest bus stop, and then the bus doesn't go directly to my office. It would probably take even longer than driving.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very practical. I'm lucky because I live pretty close to a bus route. I take the bus to work every day.
How long does that take you?
About 30 minutes, door to door. The bus stop is just a 5-minute walk from my apartment, and then the bus goes pretty much straight to my office.
That sounds convenient. Do you like taking the bus?
It has its pros and cons. The big pro is that I don't have to focus on driving, so I can read, listen to music, or even catch up on emails on my phone. It's kind of like free time.
That's true. What are the cons?
Well, the bus can get really crowded, especially during rush hour. Sometimes I'm basically standing shoulder to shoulder with strangers holding onto the rail as the bus sways back and forth. It's not exactly paradise.
That does sound less than ideal, but at least you can zone out a bit, unlike driving where you have to stay alert the whole time.
Exactly. And honestly, it's better for the environment too. That's something I feel good about.
That's a great point. Okay, so we've survived the commute and we're at work. What do you do, Ethan? I don't think we've ever actually talked about our jobs on the podcast.
You're right. I'm a software engineer. I work for a tech company and basically I spend my day writing code and fixing bugs.
What does a typical workday look like for you?
Well, I usually get to the office around 8:30 and the first thing I do is grab another cup of coffee, yes, my second of the day, and then I sit down at my desk and check my emails.
The dreaded emails. Do you get a lot?
More than I'd like, but usually the morning emails are pretty straightforward. Updates from my team, maybe a few questions about projects I'm working on. I try to respond to everything before our daily team meeting at 9:30.
You have a meeting every day?
Yeah, it's called a stand-up meeting. It's pretty short, just 15 or 20 minutes. Everyone shares what they're working on, if they have any problems, and what they're planning to do that day. It helps keep everyone on the same page.
That makes sense. What happens after the meeting?
Then it's really just heads down work time. I'm usually coding, testing new features, or debugging, which is a fancy way of saying finding and fixing problems in the code.
Is it frustrating when you can't figure out a problem?
Oh, incredibly. Sometimes I'll stare at the same piece of code for an hour trying to understand why it's not working. But then when I finally figure it out, it's such a great feeling, like solving a puzzle.
I can relate to that. I'm a graphic designer, so I spend a lot of time on the computer too, but I'm working with visuals instead of code.
Oh, that's so cool. What kind of design work do you do?
Lots of different things, actually. Sometimes I'm designing logos for new companies. Sometimes I'm creating marketing materials like posters or social media graphics. And sometimes I'm working on website layouts.
That sounds really creative. Do you enjoy it?
I love it. It's definitely my passion. I mean, like any job, there are frustrating moments, like when a client asks for the 10th revision of something. But overall, I feel really lucky to do creative work every day.
Do you have a lot of meetings too?
Not as many as you, thankfully. Maybe 2 or 3 a week with clients or my team. Most of my day is spent designing on my computer, listening to music, and occasionally staring at the window when I need inspiration.
The creative process. Speaking of which, when do you take your lunch break?
Usually around 1 p.m. Sometimes I bring lunch from home, leftovers from dinner or a sandwich, and sometimes I go out with colleagues to a nearby cafe.
Same here. My team often eats together in our office break room. We chat about random things, definitely not work. It's a nice mental break.
Do you ever go for walks during lunch?
Sometimes, especially on nice days, there's a park near my office and a quick 15-minute walk really helps me feel refreshed for the afternoon.
I should do that more often. I usually just eat at my desk and keep working, which I know isn't great.
Yeah, I used to do that too, but I found that taking an actual break makes me more productive in the afternoon. Otherwise, by 3 p.m., I'm completely drained.
That's good advice. I'll try to be better about that. So after lunch, it's just more work until it's time to go home?
Pretty much. More coding, more emails, maybe another meeting or two. I usually try to leave around 5:30 or 6 p.m.
Similar for me. I'm usually out the door by 5:30, and then it's time for the evening routine.
The best part of the day, going home. How do you spend your evenings, Lauren?
Well, first I have to survive the commute home, which is usually even worse than the morning commute.
Oh no, more traffic?
Always. Everyone's trying to get home at the same time, so the roads are packed. But I try to use that time to decompress. I'll listen to a podcast or some calm music and just mentally transition from work mode to home mode.
I like that idea, using the commute as transition time. I do something similar on the bus. I'll put on my headphones and listen to something relaxing.
Exactly. So I usually get home around 6:30 or 7, depending on the traffic. The first thing I do is change out of my work clothes and into something comfortable, usually yoga pants and a t-shirt.
The universal I'm home outfit.
Right? Then I start thinking about dinner. Do you cook a lot, Ethan?
I try to. I live with my partner and we usually cook together. It's actually one of my favorite parts of the day. We'll put on some music, open a bottle of wine sometimes, and just cook and chat about our days.
That sounds lovely. What kind of food do you make?
All sorts of things. We like to try new recipes, but we also have our comfort favorites. Pasta dishes, stir fries, roasted vegetables. Nothing too fancy, but we enjoy the process.
Do you eat together at the table?
We do, yeah. It's important to us to sit down and have dinner together without distractions. No phones, no TV, just talking and enjoying the meal.
I love that. I live alone, so my dinners are a bit more casual. I often eat while watching a show or reading.
There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone's routine is different. Do you enjoy cooking for yourself?
Sometimes. When I have the energy, I'll make something nice. But honestly, some evenings I'm just too tired, so I'll make something simple, like a salad or heat up leftovers.
That's totally valid. So after dinner, how do you spend the rest of your evening?
It depends on the day. Sometimes I'll read a book. I'm currently reading a mystery novel that I can't put down. Other times I'll work on personal art projects, which is really relaxing for me.
Oh, like painting or drawing?
Exactly. I love watercolor painting. It's very different from my digital design work, and it's nice to work with my hands and create something physical.
That's so cool. I wish I had a creative hobby like that. My evenings are pretty low-key. I'll watch a show, listen to music, or sometimes play video games to unwind.
Nothing wrong with that. We all need time to just relax and turn our brains off a bit.
Exactly. And of course, sometimes we're recording this podcast in the evening.
True, which is also something I really enjoy. It's nice to chat with you and know that we're helping people learn English.
Agreed. It's become one of the highlights of my week. Okay, so we've had dinner, we've relaxed a bit. What's your bedtime routine?
I try to start winding down around 9:30 or 10 p.m. I'll brush my teeth again, wash my face, and change into my pajamas.
Do you have a nighttime skincare routine?
I do. Nothing too complicated, but I wash my face, use a moisturizer, and that's about it. It's more about the ritual than anything. It signals to my brain that it's time to sleep.
I'm the same way. I brush my teeth, wash my face, and that's my cue that the day is ending. Do you go straight to bed after that?
Not always. I'm terrible about this, but I often scroll through my phone a bit, checking social media, reading articles, that kind of thing.
You and everyone else. I do the same thing, even though I know it's not great for sleep.
Right? All the experts say you should avoid screens before bed, but it's such a hard habit to break.
Same here. Sometimes I'll read a book instead of looking at my phone, and I definitely sleep better on those nights.
I should do that more. What time do you usually fall asleep?
I try to be asleep by 11 p.m., but realistically, it's usually closer to 11:30 or even midnight. What about you?
Similar, between 11 and 11:30. I need at least 7 hours of sleep to function, so if I'm getting up at 6:30, I really should be asleep by 11:30 at the latest.
Do you ever have trouble falling asleep?
Sometimes, especially if I'm stressed about work or thinking about everything I need to do the next day. On those nights, I'll do some deep breathing or listen to a calm podcast.
That's smart. I've started keeping a notebook by my bed. If I'm lying there with my mind racing, I'll write down whatever I'm thinking about. It helps get it out of my head so I can relax.
That's a great tip. I might try that. There's nothing worse than lying in bed exhausted but unable to sleep because your brain won't shut off.
Exactly. But when I do fall asleep, I'm usually out until the alarm goes off the next morning at 6:45.
And then the whole cycle starts again.
The circle of life.
You know, Ethan, talking through our daily routines like this, I'm realizing how much we're all the same in so many ways.
What do you mean?
Well, the details are different. You take the bus, I drive, you're a morning shower person, I'm an evening shower person, but the structure is the same. We all wake up, get ready, go to work, come home, and wind down. It's universal.
That's true, and I think that's actually really comforting. No matter where you're from or what language you speak, we all have these shared human experiences.
Exactly. And for our listeners who are learning English, I hope this conversation showed you that you don't need fancy vocabulary to talk about your day. Simple words and phrases are totally fine.
Right. I wake up, I brush my teeth, I have breakfast, I go to work. These are all basic sentences, but they're exactly what native speakers use.
And once you have these building blocks, you can add more detail. Instead of just, I have breakfast, you can say, I have toast with jam and a cup of coffee. Or instead of, I go to work, you can say, I drive to work, and the traffic is usually terrible.
Exactly. Start simple and build from there. And practice. Maybe try describing your own daily routine to yourself in English. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Great advice. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. And before you know it, when someone asks, how was your day? You'll be able to answer confidently and naturally.
Without freezing up.
Exactly.
Well, I think that's a good place to wrap up today's episode. Lauren, this was fun.
It really was. I love these chatty episodes where we just talk about normal, everyday things.
Me too. And to all our listeners, thank you so much for spending this time with us at the English Hearth.
We hope you enjoyed learning about our daily routines, and more importantly, we hope you feel more confident about describing your own routine in English.
Remember, it's all about practice and building that toolbox of useful sentences. You're doing great.
If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love to hear from you. You can leave us a comment or review wherever you're listening.
And if you have ideas for future topics you'd like us to discuss, please let us know. We love hearing from our listeners.
Next episode, we'll be talking about hobbies and free time activities, so that should be fun.
Can't wait. Until then, keep practicing, keep listening, and most importantly, keep being kind to yourself in your learning journey.
Absolutely. Learning a language takes time, and every conversation, every word you learn is progress.
Well said, Lauren. All right, everyone. Thanks again for listening to the English Hearth.
We'll see you next time.
Bye for now.
Bye.